Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to WorksheetCloud and to your grade 6 English lesson. My name is Mrs. Vauger. Remember that if you do have any questions during this lesson, you can email me at the email on the screen, grade6@worksheetcloud.com. So let's jump into our lesson for today. We are going to have a daily starter, as we usually do, and then we are going to look at Subject Verb Agreement. And this is quite an important lesson, and I think sometimes we think it's so easy that we don't really need to think about it, but it can be tricky. So let's jump into our daily starter. So we're looking at the word of the day, and I've chosen the word shambolic. I just loved it. Just the way it sounds on your tongue, shambolic. So just so you know, it means disorganized, messy, or confused. It's used mainly by the British, and it actually comes from two words. Combination of shambles, for things to be in shambles is to be messy, and then the word symbolic. And so you can use it in different ways. And on the top right hand corner you can see this school year has been shambolic, so sort of messy. The handing out of masks at the hospital was shambolic, so it was maybe a little bit disorganized. So take some time today, see if you can use it somewhere. Hope your rooms are not shambolic. Maybe it's time to give them a good cleaner before you start your day. Right, so let's jump into subject-verb agreement. So the basic rule is that a singular subject, so one subject like one boy or Mary, takes a singular verb, and then a plural subject, so the boys or my parents, takes a plural verb. So let's take a look at the example. The boy eats pizza. The boys eat pizza. So take a look here at our singular subject boy. It gets eats, and the rule is so that it needs a singular verb, but it also has the S over there. So the boy eats. So because there's one boy with no S, onto your verb you add an S. And then the plural has already got an S, boys, so you don't need to add an S here. So the boys eat, the boy eats. So let's take a look at some other examples. I'm just going to move myself around here on the screen. So other examples, there's the first one, the boy eats pizza, the boys eat pizza. So let's look here on the left at the motorbike. So one motorbike, the motorbike goes fast. Can you see? You've got a singular subject and it has the S. Goes fast. But when I've got a whole group, plural, more than one, the motorbikes, there's the S already, doesn't need an S in your verb. The motorbikes go fast. Let's look at this one. Your hat looks funny. So one hat, looks, there's your S, funny. Your hats, got an S there, so you don't need it with your verb look funky. Sorry, not funny, funky. My mom, one subject, has, there's your S, a big home. My parents, there's the S, have a big home. The baby, one baby, cries, there's your S. The babies, there's the plural, so it's already got an S, doesn't need one here. The babies cry. So I hope you starting to get it a little bit. So let's take a look at some examples. So the first thing you've got to do is there are 10 of these. So if you haven't got a piece of paper, I would pause the video and just go grab a piece of paper and a pen. When you look at this sheet, before you do anything else, just on this left-hand side here next to the numbers, so just write number 1 to 10. You don't have to write the whole sentence, but just write next to number 1 to 10, whether it's a singular subject or a plural subject. So I'll give you the first two. So if we look at number 1, Mandy, it's one girl. So you'd write your number 1, S, singular. Number 2, the diligent students. Okay, we can see there's more than one. So you need to write number 2, P. So just pause and do that first before you even decide which verbs we are going to use. And then when we come back, I'll show you what to do. Right, take a look. Right, I still haven't decided what verbs, but I have put next to each of the numbers whether it's singular or plural. So let's go through it. Number 3, the chef, one chef, singular, single on its own. Number 4, the zebras, a whole group of them, that's plural. Number 5, it, one thing, singular. Our teacher, one teacher, singular. Number 7, plural, because the cows, there's a whole lot of them. Number 8, she, one girl or one woman, singular. This one, my cousin's mother. So their mother is one, singular, and then our parents is plural. So now what I want you to do is decide, are we going to say Mandy walks her puppy every day or Mandy walk her puppy every day? Now these might seem easy, but you'll see it gets a little bit more tricky as you go along, especially in your writing. So pause the video and just write, number 1, which verb would you use for the singular subject, walks or walk? Remember, just to recap, the rule is you've got a singular subject with a singular verb. So if I've got one subject, you need to have an S added to the verb. And if I've got a plural subject, so more than one, no S. Okay, off you go, and when we come back, we'll go through it. Right. You ready? Here we go. So singular, Mandy walks. There's the S. The diligent students already has an S, so you don't need tries with another S. It's just the diligent students try hard in class. Number 3, the chef, singular, bakes. So the chef has not got an S on there. I need it in my verb. The chef always bakes a cake for my birthday. Number 4, the zebras drink. So there's your S on your plural. Zebras drink a lot of water. It's singular, takes. There's your S. Takes a special person to be a nurse. Number 6, our teacher, one teacher, writes. There's your S. A note if we get an A. If we, so that's, now this was a tricky one because you'd think we does not have an S, but we is already plural, so it shows us that it's more than one. So it has the word get. Number 7, the cows, there's the S, run, not runs, to the barn at feeding time. She, singular, catches, needs the S, the bus. Number 9, my cousin's mother often drives, because mother hasn't got an S there, drives them to the shop. And number 10, our parents, more than one with the S, work at the same office. Great, I hope that you are getting this. Okay, but what about this? The child rides the bike. Here's your next one. The children ride their bikes. Okay, so you notice the one with the teacher giving you an A. So take a look here. Child is one, and you've got rides. There's the S. Now we should be saying that children rides their bikes. But you can actually hear it doesn't sound correct. And like I told you, it's already in the plural form. So one child, lots of children. So children doesn't really need an S to make it plural because it's already plural. So it's already got, if we want to say, the S in it, hidden in there. So children is already plural, one child, children. You wouldn't say the childs. Okay, it's children is the plural, and so it doesn't need the S in the verb. The children ride their bikes. My dog barking outside. Right. Take a look at the next one. And take a look at this. Mary live in Sunningdale. Which one is it? Let's just recap. Yes, so we've got a singular subject, and then you need to have the S on your verb. So Mary lives. Good. But what about this? Next one. Oops. There we go. Sorry, it came too fast. Mary and Jack lives or live in Sunningdale. Well, Mary and Jack, or what does that show you? We've got plural. There's two of them. So you're not going to say Mary and Jack lives in Sunningdale. Okay, it's already plural. So it's almost like there would be an S on it, but there's two of them. So you don't need the S again. So it's Mary and Jack live in Sunningdale. Then here's a slightly different one. So instead of using and to show that there's two of them, I've said Mary or Jack. So it's either Mary, who's one person, or Jack, who's one. And so what does it need there if we're talking about the verb? Good, needs an S. So Mary or Jack lives in Sunningdale. So just remember, it's called compound words. I think if you remember back to one of our lessons, or maybe one that your teachers taught you, a compound word is where you join two words to make a completely new word, like butterfly. If I take the word butter, which we know we can spread on bread, and flour buzzing around over your food, they are two separate pictures that you could actually picture. Butter on your bread and a flour. But if you put them together, it creates an entirely new, different picture word, a butterfly that's flapping around the flowers. And so in the same way, you've got what we call compound subjects. It means there's two of them, like here, Mary and Jack. It's called a compound subject because here we've just got Mary, singular subject. But now I've got two of them that are put together with the word and. It's called a compound subject. Okay, so just to recap again, Mary and Jack, there's two of them, so it's plural now. Doesn't need the S in your verb. Mary and Jack live in Sunningdale. But if I join them with the word or, okay, that's telling you it's either Mary or it's Jack. So there's one Mary or one Jack. It's not together, not and. And so you treat it as a singular subject. So Mary or Jack lives needs the S. Great. So here are some other examples. And I want you to see that instead of using the subject, the boy, we could change and use the pronoun. And the reason I'm showing you this is that it's quite easy when you are actually doing little examples like this. But when you write a paragraph or you're writing a story, often your teacher might write next to your work as she's marking a GR for grammar, which means that it could be your tense or it could be the way in which you use the word incorrectly. So let's take a look at this, and I do hope it's going to help you. So instead of saying the boy eats pizza, because that's not how we talk all the time, I won't point and say the boy eats pizza. I might say he eats pizza. Okay? And then if we were talking about a whole group of boys, we could talk about they eat pizza. So take a look at the motorbike. Instead of me saying the motorbike goes fast, I might point and say it goes fast. If I'm talking about a whole lot of motorbikes, they go fast. Your hat looks funky. Your hats look funky. I've just left it that. We could say it. If I was just wanting to use hat and replace it with a pronoun, it looks funky. They look funky. My mom would use she as your pronoun. She has a big home. If I'm talking about my parents and I want to replace it with a pronoun, I'd say they have a big home. The baby might be a he or a she, and I'd say he or she cries. The babies, if we put them together and replace the subject with a pronoun, we'd say they cry. So, just to take a look. See, I need to move my face again. So, when you've got a singular subject like the boy, the motorbike, mom, or baby, you will replace it with the pronoun. The boy would be he, motorbike would be it, mom would be she, and the baby would be he or she. If we put plural subjects, a whole group of boys, we'd say they, motorbikes, those or they, parents, they, and babies, they. But you can also use we if you are talking about you as a group with the other people. So if you are talking about the boys eating pizza and you are one of the boys, instead of saying the boys eat pizza, you'd say we, because you're including yourself in the group of boys, we eat pizza. So your pronouns can be replaced by your nouns, and we often do that because you don't go the boys, the boys, the boys, the boys throughout your paragraph. You will replace it with they. Now, I wonder if any of you see which pronouns are missing. Can you see them? So we've got he or she, it, we've got they, and we've got we. Which pronouns are missing? Okay, so the ones that are missing are I and you. And if we have to go with the rule, I is singular. Okay, so I is singular and you, we don't know if it's singular or plural, depends how you use it. So I could be talking about you as an individual, or I could be talking to a group of you and say you need to do this, or you, your group. Okay, so what you need to remember is there's always exceptions in English, and that's what makes the English language so tough sometimes. So these all follow the same rule. So I'm going to show you our next slide. Actually, let me just go back. So I and you are exceptions. So you're not going to go I washes the dishes. Because think, if it's a singular subject, it needs to go with a singular verb and have an S on it. So you can't go I washes. I wash the dishes. I can't say I sings in the morning. I sing in the morning. And the same with the pronoun you. You don't say you eats your breakfast. You eat your breakfast. You can't say you sings in the morning. You sing in the morning. So these are the exceptions where I and you don't follow the subject verb agreement rule. Then we have the negative. So I'm just going to move myself to the left here. The negative form of sentences mean if you don't do something. So if I say the boy eats pizza, then I'd say he doesn't eat pizza. So the rule applies again slightly differently. So take a look, the boy, singular, and then instead of putting it on the verb, it goes in your contraction, the negative part, does not or doesn't. Can you see the S over there? So singular subject, singular verb, and you need the S. So look there, the boy doesn't, there's your S, eat pizza. Here, the boys don't. So when you're using singular, you use the word doesn't. And when you're using plural, you use don't. You don't say the boys doesn't eat pizza. It's the boys don't eat pizza. So let's look at the others. There, the motorbike. If I want to change the pronoun, so I want to just, instead of saying motorbike, I change the noun to a pronoun. It doesn't go fast. Remember in the beginning, look here, we said the motorbike goes fast, singular subject. There's your S. It goes fast. But now in the negative, you've got the S in the contraction. It doesn't go fast. And then obviously in your plural, they don't go fast. Your hat looks funky. Your hat doesn't look funky. Your hats, there's the S already, don't look funky. My mom, so she has a big home. She doesn't have a big home. And my parents, they have a big home. They don't have a big home. So just remember when you are writing in the negative, the S is already in your contraction when you are singular, but in plural, you don't need the S because your subject is already plural. Right, another one here. So the baby, he or she cries. Now when I say they don't, the baby doesn't cry. So there's your S in your singular subject in the contraction. And then they don't cry. There's your plural. So it's already plural. They don't cry. No need to have an S. So just remember, there are your rules. So when it's a singular subject, you use doesn't. And when it's a plural subject, you use the word don't. Right. Now, again, the subject verb agreement rule only applies in the present tense. Okay, so she is happy. Okay, there's is, got the S. If I had to say reads, she reads a book, singular subject with the verb read, with the S, she reads her book. If it's a plural subject, they read their books. So they is already plural, doesn't need an S. They read their books. That's only in the present. Now, if I had to do past tense, you need to remember that past tense just stays like it is. So I don't say the boy ate pizza. The boy eats pizza, that's present tense. If it's past tense, it just stays in the past tense verb, like the verb is. Eat, ate. So the boys, we don't say eat, or we just say the boys ate pizza, and the boy ate pizza. So it stays exactly the same in both sentences, whether it's singular or plural. So look at the other. Motorbike goes fast, present tense, but it went fast, or the motorbikes went fast. Your hat looked funky, your hats looked funky. Stays exactly the same for both of them. My mom has, it becomes in the past tense, my mom had a big home. Your parents, plural, my parents had a big home. The baby cries becomes the baby cried, and the babies cried. So there's no difference in past tense. So the only time you have to remember about the subject-verb agreement is when it is in the present tense. Right, so just to recap the rule again. So singular subjects, one person, the boy, Mary, Mrs. Vauger. You just add the S to the verb. Mrs. Vauger shouts. They is a plural, so your plural subject, it uses the verb in its basic form. So if I'm talking about the word write, they write in their books. but she writes in her book, because singular needs to have an S added onto the verb. Okay, so if you take a look here, the rule is the same for all verbs. Play, look, write, sing, jump. So if I had to now change these present tense verbs to the past tense, it's the same for any verb that you use. Play becomes played. He played, they played. Look, she looks, they looked. Write, he writes. Actually, we've got to now change it to past tense. He wrote, they wrote in their books. And sing, he sang, they sang. And the last one, he jumped, they jumped. So it doesn't matter what verb you are using, whether it's shout, swim, call, becomes called. So in your the rule in terms of your subject verb agreement, when you're writing in the past tense, it works for every single verb that you change into the past tense. But there is an exception again, and it is, so let me just show you here. So there we go, plays, play, looks, look, writes, write, sings, sing. Okay, so that's in the present tense. I was talking earlier about the past tense, so I could change all of those verbs to the past tense. Played, looked, wrote, sang, and jumped. But if I am choosing any other verb, play, so if it's a singular, subject, he plays. Plural, they play. The girl, singular, looks. There's your S. The girls, a whole lot of them, there's your S already, so they look. Sam writes, one person, singular. Sam and Jack, now are plural, doesn't need an S on your verb, right? The child, singular, sings, and you need your S on your verb. The children, remember we said look out for those plurals where it doesn't have an S, but it shows you that there's more than one. The children sing. The monkey jumps, and the monkeys jump. Okay, so this subject verb agreement applies in the present tense for all your verbs except one, and it's this one, be, the verb be, if you are something. Okay, so we know that all our other verbs have two tenses. So for example, play is present and played, and obviously you can do future tense, which is will play, but you've still got your present, play and play, whether it's play now or will play. It's the same kind of tense in terms of how it looks, the word looks, but it's play is present, will play is future. So it's got two, and then played as in past tense. But be, the verb be, has three present tense forms. Okay, so let me just go back quickly to the word shout. Okay, in the present tense, shouts. It's one actual tense, and past tense would be shouted. Okay, but in the present tense, in terms of the word be, there are three different tense forms. It is am, is, or are. So you can use that with different pronouns. And then in the past tense, it would be was or were. So let's take a look at that in practice. So if I'm a singular pronoun, okay, I am sick. Okay, I use the present tense verb form of be, am, only with the word I am. If I was using he, she, or it, I'd use the verb is. He is sick, she is sick, it is sick. Maybe I'm talking about an animal and I want to use the pronoun it. If it's the plural, so talking about a group, they or we, you would use the form of the verb be in the word are. You don't say they be sick, they are sick, we are sick. Okay, and then in the past tense form of the word be, it's was or were. When you are using singular, like I, he, she, or it, I was sick, he was sick, she was sick, it was sick. But in the plural sense, they were sick or we are sick. So I know it can be a little bit tricky, and I've given you a lot of things to think about this morning, but let's just recap quickly. So the first thing, in the present tense of subject-verb agreement, remember a singular subject has a singular verb, put an S on it. If you have a plural subject, more than one person, you have to just add on the verb in its basic form, like eat. The boys, group of them, eat. One boy, the boy eats, the S. Now we're looking at the exception to the rule in terms of the verb be. Of course, all our other verbs play, plays, very little change in terms of how they change. But the word be, so if you are something, there are different forms of it in the present tense. Okay, so play, you can only do the one because plays is in the present tense. So this is what we are looking at now, is if it's singular I, you use the word am. You're not going to say I is sick or I are sick. I am sick. So this is the rule. If it's a singular as in he, she, or it, you use is. You don't say he am sick. He or she is sick, and then they, as a group, you don't say they am or they is sick. They are or we are. And then again here at the bottom, the past tense, the singulars I, he, she, it uses was, and the plural they, we, or you, because remember we spoke about you as in a group. You were sick, not you was sick. So let's actually now just see some of these in practice. I am happy, I am singing. She is happy, she is singing. They are happy, they are singing. So try and change it. Let's go, I is happy, I are happy. Does it sound correct? No. But sometimes when we write, we're not looking at our tenses in the paragraph. And remember, you've got to keep the tense the same in one paragraph. And then we've got I was happy, she was happy. I was singing, he was singing. They were happy, they were singing. You're not going to say they was singing. So I know this seems quite easy, but sometimes in your writing, you start writing and then you forget your rules. And that's what I want you to remember today, is that as you're writing, be very aware of your subject-verb agreement, especially if you're writing in the present tense. Right, so let's check what you know. Okay, so there are 5 sentences there. I want you just to pause the video, write down 1 to 5, and see if you know which ones are which. So I'll just recap quickly. Single subject, single verb with an S. Plural subject, more than one, doesn't need the S on the verb. Off you go. Right, let's check how you did. So number 1, either Sam or Patty are the new class president. Is that correct? Okay, let's think about it. Okay, so remember, Sam or Patty, and I've especially put this one because this one is actually incorrect. Okay, it's not the word are, because if you're looking at Sam and Patty together would be a compound subject if we used and. But now we're saying one of them, either Sam or Patty. So it's a singular, so then you need the S. So it would be either Sam or Patty is the new class president. So it's not the word are. Number 2, the principal and the coach. Okay, there's 2 of them, so they're already plural. Visit, doesn't need the S. Visit our class every month. Number 3, the toy train and the doll are under the bed. Okay, here, different to number 1, we're talking about the 2 of them together and. Okay, so the toy train and the doll, plural, are, not is, under the bed. Number 4, someone, singular, looks happy. And number 5, there were 3 flowers in the vase. Okay, so you're not going to say was because the flowers show you that there's more than one. Right, let's take a look at these next 5 as well. So pause the video and when we come back. Now, before we do this one, I just want to show you something. I know that there's plural there, dogs, but it's saying one of the dogs. So it's showing that there's singular there. All of the books, that's a group. Every one of the apples, the herd, one herd. You can have lots of herds, but this is one herd, and one of my friends. So let's see if you know the difference between singular and plural in terms of your subjects. Off you go. Right, here we go. So one of the dogs, so one is singular, growls, so you need your S, singular subject, singular verb with an S, growls at the strangers. All of the books, so there's a group of them, so it doesn't need is, it's already plural. All of the books are on the table. Number 3, every one of the apples was in the bag. Every one of the apples. So one was in the bag. The herd of elephants, there is one herd, crosses the river every spring. And one of my friends, singular, once, needs the S, to spend the night at my house. Right, and to finish off, let's step it up a little bit, guys. So there are 10 of these here. Again, what I would do is identify whether it's a single subject, singular subject, or a plural subject, and then decide on your subject-verb agreement. So pause the video, and we'll wrap it up with this last exercise. Right, are you ready? Okay, so the players, more than one, are going to the sports field. So there's your S already, so you don't need is, another S. Mark, singular, was, you need your S, going to go with his mom, but he had homework to do. Stacy, singular, is, needs the S, is one of the kindest people I know. Number 4, the teacher was, one teacher, needs the S, was very excited. Number 5, they are one of the top schools. So not they is one of the top, because they shows you it's plural, so it doesn't need the S. My best friend, singular, is, you don't need that, it's already got singular, so you need your S there, so it's not going to be is. My best friend was there when I arrived. You could say my best friend is there when I arrive, but this is past tense. Where do your grandparents live? You're not going to say where does your grandparents live, because here you can see there's the S, so you don't need the S in the word do, which is does. Where do your grandparents live? Barbara, one, singular subject, has 2 older sisters. Number 9, each child has, there's your S, a book to read, and making the cake is a lot of hard work. Right, so I do hope that you've enjoyed that lesson and it's helped you a little bit with your subject-verb agreement. When you come to the end of this video and you close it, you will find an activity on subject-verb agreement. And remember, if you've got any questions about subject-verb agreement, you can email me at grade6@worksheetcloud.com. So nothing more from me but to say goodbye. And again, thank you grade 6s for watching. This lesson was brought to you by Worksheet Cloud. Have a great day. Bye.